Hey y'all, welcome back to Right at the Wire. As requested, I've put together a Kentucky Derby top 25 contender list to kind of give us a feel for where we are heading into this big weekend of preps. So let's take a look at the contenders and we'll do it five at a time. Number 25 is Arctic Arrogance. Has finished second in the Jerome handicap as well as the Withers. Pedigree to me is suspect for two turns. More efforts at that at two turns is basically going to show that this one doesn't really belong. Doing it on heart. There's a virus in Linda Rice's barn right now that's going to interrupt his training, and he's out for the Gotham, and he may even miss the Woods. So I don't expect this one to be a factor in the Derby at all when it comes down to it. Number 24 is Lugan Knight. Is improving steadily, albeit not impressively. Beat Arctic Arrogance in the Jerome, and that was a one-turn mile. Going to do it again in the Gotham this weekend. So we haven't seen this one around two turns yet, but there is some potential for improvement, and we'll just have to see what happens this weekend. WH&L is still on the list because he won the Remsen, and that's a pretty good Derby prep for two-year-olds. The Sam F. Davis, you just have to draw a line through. He had way too many traffic issues, and I think they preserved him late. He really didn't do much running in that. I'm drawing a line through it, so we'll see what he does in the Tampa Derby, and I'm expecting a better effort, so he could move up on the list potentially. Number 22 is Rocket Can. Bill Mott, a trainee, will definitely improve in his next start, the Fountain of Youth, I think. But you can't get past that he had an 82 buyer in the Holy Bull, and he did win it, but that wasn't much of a field that he beat. And I think right now his chances of being a major Derby contender are rather suspect. We'll see what he does this weekend. Number 21 is Litigate. Won the Sam F. Davis. Did it professionally, but there wasn't much of a field, and it was kind of a quirky race due to the traffic issues that a lot of the major contenders encountered. He's a little on the small side, and while I think he's a pretty good horse, I don't know how much more he has in the tank, and whether or not he can become a major player. I have my doubts. Number 20 is King's Barnes. Has his first two races have been pretty impressive, particularly his last allowance race. Didn't beat a whole lot, but it was the way he beat him very impressively. Has two-turn pedigree and seems to be on the improve. We'll have to see how he does in the Louisiana Derby. I believe that's where he's going next. That would be a big step up in class for him, but he appears suited for it and could become a major contender depending upon how he does there. 19 is Jace's Road. He seems an enigma. I never know when he's going to show up. The Southwest Stakes, he had kind of a marginal effort. We can attribute that to the mud, and maybe he didn't like it very much. There is some talent here to be sure. He has posted a 95 buyer, so there's some speed. And I don't know how much of a contender he really is. He's been kind of hard to evaluate. But we'll see what he does in his next race. And again, with some improvement, he could move up the list. Sun Thunder, I've liked this horse since I watched his maiden race. He's got the right running style for the Derby, I think. He's definitely on the improve, as witnessed by his last two stakes efforts. The Southwest, he did okay, not great, but he really showed a big improvement in the Risen Star and another jump forward, and I think that puts him in the mix as a serious player here, and I like his chances. Tappett's Conquest, we're still waiting to see what we've got with this one. He just hasn't been able to put it all together yet. There's definitely some talent there. He did get fourth in the Risen Star, but you keep wanting more with this one. And I have to wonder, being a Tappet, if maybe it has something to do with his mental maturity and his focus. But there's some talent there, and again, he could definitely move forward if he can put it all together in the Louisiana Derby. Number 16 is Practical Move. I liked what I saw in the Los Al Futurity, but sometimes that form doesn't translate to other tracks. He looked very comfortable around two turns, and that's a bit of a surprise given the fact that he's by Practical Joke. They generally don't do well around two turns. There is definitely some talent here. We'll have to see how he does in the San Felipe. I think that's a really big test, and it's pretty much a make or break for him on the Derby Trail. Number 15 is Hijazi, and the reason he's this low on the list is mainly because I do have some questions about him around 2 turns. His Malone effort was, he didn't really look that comfortable in the stretch, and he really didn't have much in the way of a stretch run against Cave Rock and National Treasure. No easy feat, but his pedigree is a little suspect. He's got speed on the bottom, so I don't know how much stamina he really has. There's a ton of talent here to be sure. He's got a world of speed. He broke his maiden on his last race with ease. However, it was at 6.5 furlongs. The San Felipe is a make or break for me for this one. And if he could very well demonstrate that 2 turns isn't a problem. He's got enough talent to overlook or to outrun his pedigree. But I have to see it first. So this is where he is right now. But he could very well move up this list very quickly because he is that talented. Number 14 is Confidence Game. I think we've seen the best of this one. Keith DeSormo was mentioned. He didn't see any signs that this one was going to run a big one. So you have to believe the mud had a lot to do with that performance. He was drifting out badly in the stretch, and he was on his left lead. That usually means the horse is pretty worn out, pretty tired, and that's about all he's got to give. So another move forward I think is highly doubtful, and I think this one will be dropping on the list, particularly after this weekend. Blazing Sevens, another one with the jury still out on. I'm just not sure this one is a 2-turn horse. He did get a 4th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, but he was pretty much a non-factor. And this is his debut at 3, so we'll have to see if he can build on his form from 2 years old. There is some talent here, and he's in good hands with Chad Brown. So I think this weekend in the Fountain of Youth, this will be another instance where it's a make or break for him whether he moves forward on the Derby Trail. Number 12 is Hit Show. We've talked about it before. The big red flag is the fact that Cox transferred him to New York to get easier fields, so it's easier for him to pick up points. So he may be a suspect in the talent department. Hasn't done anything wrong. He's been getting better with every race. He won the Withers pretty easily against Arctic Arrogance. And so there's definitely some talent here, but I want to see another move forward in the Wood Memorial. But I'm not sure he stacks up with the best in this on this list. But he's definitely moving forward, and we'll just have to see how he does in the Wood. Number 11 is Angel of Empire. Yes, he was the beneficiary of the trip in the Risen Star, and he did only get an 87 for that race. But I think there's more to this horse. He definitely has 2-turn pedigree. He's improving with every start, and he's in good hands with Brad Cox. I think with another move forward in the Arkansas Derby is very likely, or the Louisiana Derby, wherever he goes. And I like this one moving forward. Number 10 is Tappet Trice. His last allowance win was pretty darn impressive. I have a concern that he's a little slow to get going, but that could just be that he's still a little green. All the potential seems to be there. He's registering pretty good buyers, and I think there's a lot left in the tank that we could see. And another significant move forward in the Louisiana Derby stamps him as a really solid Derby contender. Verifying at number 9, I haven't given up on this horse yet. I thought he had a questionable ride with Florent Giroux in the Rebel Stakes, ducking in, ducking out, and he didn't really seem to be certain as to what to do with him. I didn't think he ran badly. The fact that he still finished 4th, I think, is a pretty good sign. You can't overlook that allowance win against Gun Pilot, where he won pretty convincingly, and Gun Pilot's not a bad horse. So I think with a rebound and some retooling, this one can definitely should be a favorite to win the Arkansas Derby, and consequently would be a solid favorite for the Derby. Two Phils, he just keeps doing his thing. He just keeps getting a little bit better with every start. He's fared competitively in all of the Derby preps he's had this year. And like I say, he continues to improve. And I think as long as he does that, then he will still be in the mix. I'd like to see his buyers be a little higher. That is one thing you can say about him for sure. But you have to like the fact that no matter the situation, he seems to have some grit and some stick-to-itiveness. So those are things you like to see with another move forward in the Louisiana Derby. Then he would be a major player. Red Route 1, number 7, I mean, until they get this horse more forwardly placed, I think we've seen all we're going to see of this one. He's too far back to ever win a race. It just is that simple. He's got a big late run, and, it's fun to watch and all that. But, he's so pace dependent right now. The Asmussen had to put a rabbit in with Powerful in the Rebel Stakes. I don't think there's any doubting that was the intent there. So, is he getting better? Yeah, but I mean, until they work out his problems with with the braking slowly, then I don't expect him to be any more than what he is, and he'll be, probably finish third in the Derby, but that's not winning it, is it? Number 6 is Reincarnate. I like the versatility of this horse. He didn't. I expected him to be closer, more forwardly placed in the Rebel, but I think they anticipated a rabbit, so they kept him back. And the fact that he could do that and finish third is a pretty good sign of his talent. He has been forwardly placed in his prior races. In the Sham, he got a 95 buyer, and I believe he got a 91 or 91 for the Rebel Stakes. So he's definitely a player within this group, and I think another move forward is certainly possible. The longer the distance the better it's going to be for this one. He can run all day. Baffert had said he was his Belmont horse, so I think we have to take him seriously, and he's a major player. Now we're to our top 5, which, unfortunately there hasn't been a lot of movement in it since the start of the year, given the fact that there's been such inactivity, but we'll take a look at it nonetheless. Number 5 is National Treasure. Came out of his 3-year-old year, ran a not so great a third in the Sham. There was only a 4-horse field, but you would have, or 5-horse field rather. You would have liked to have seen him do a little better than he did, but he did get a 94, and he may have needed a race. Baffert has said this is a work in progress. If based upon what he's done so far, it's really exciting to think about what this horse might become. So he's definitely one of the best 3-year-olds out there so far, until he proves otherwise. And I think he's going to run a really nice race in the San Felipe, and that'll move him forward even further. Should be for the Derby. Number 4 is Cave Rock. Until he runs again, we just don't know, do we? Baffert's been so kind of cryptic with him. We really don't know what his intentions are, and he hasn't transferred him to another stable, I don't believe. So I'm not even sure he's going to run in the Derby. So we just don't know. He's clearly the class of the 3-year-old crop. I mean, based upon what he did at 2, he's got a world of talent, and until we hear definitively he's off the trail, we got to keep him on the list. But he'll be dropping every single week that he doesn't run. Instant Coffee, number 3, he just keeps grinding right along. He's not spectacular, but he keeps winning. And his wins keep getting flattered when you see the horses he's beating, Two Phil's, Confidence Game, come back with good efforts in longer races and with significant effort. He's definitely one of the top 3-year-olds right now for sure. I do want to see a better buyer speed figure in the Louisiana Derby. I want to see something in the high 90s at the very minimum. But who's to say this one's not capable? He's not spectacular. Maybe that's what our big concern is about him. I don't know. But right now he hasn't done anything wrong, and I think he's definitely a top 5 Derby contender. Number 2 is Arabian Night. He's kind of the same as Cave Rock. He's not officially off the Derby trail, but Baffert has said that he's going to be taking some time with this one, so the Preakness might be more likely. We don't know. He's got a world of talent. That Southwest Stakes, he basically won for fun. Nobody was even close to challenging him. He's got tons of speed. I do wonder if he wants a mile and a quarter. That is a bit of a question, but he may have enough class and talent to outrun his pedigree there. But he's definitely one of the best 3-year-olds in the crop for sure. Number 1 is Forte, juvenile champion. Until somebody knocks him off, he's number 1. We'll see in the Fountain of Youth this weekend. Even if he's not tuned up all the way, which I'm fairly certain he's not going to be, if he runs a significant top 3 race, then I don't think we would knock him down too much for that. I think it would only just demonstrate that he's just warming up. I mean, Pletcher can't be pointing for the Fountain of Youth. He's pointing for the Kentucky Derby. And so he's giving him 2 bites at the apple to get in. I think it's quite certain that he will be there. So you just have to know that this weekend he doesn't have to run his best race. If he demonstrates, he shows signs that he hasn't regressed from 2 years old, and in fact he's ready to build on what he did, then he's, without question, given the fact that we don't know about Arabian Night and Cave Rock, he is definitely the horse to beat for the Kentucky Derby. So that's my top 25 Derby contender list. I know that there'll be some bones of contention with some of you. Let me know who's too high. Let me know who's too low. It's always good to hear from other countries, and it helps to formulate some good opinions about these 3-year-olds. Got a great weekend coming up on Saturday. I love to a lot of exciting Derby preps. I think we're going to have a lot of questions answered about some of these 3-year-olds, and probably some new questions the way things have been going this year. So it's really an exciting time of year, and I'm looking forward to it. I know you are too. If you like what you see here, please like and subscribe. And thanks for coming by. I'll be talking to you down the road.